Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Swagman XC2 Bike Platform Rack here on the back of our 2020 Winnebago View. Now guys, this can be a great little way of going ahead and giving yourself a way of carrying your bikes to wherever your destination wants to take you. With a 35-pound capacity per bike, we should have no trouble getting most of our standard and even some of those mountain range bikes. So keep in mind here what that weight capacity is. A couple other things out of the gate with it too. You are going to be limited on the kind of bikes you can throw up on here, guys. So we do have frame contacts right in the middle and right out of the gate. That's going to go ahead and eliminate our carbon frame bikes from being able to be carried by this carrier, as that constant pressure on that frame can end up warping and deteriorating that carbon frame, so we don't want to cause any damage to that. Now, the other couple issues you might run into is with women's bikes, step-through bikes, and some kiddos bikes. They might have a little bit of a weird horizontal frame here. So one thing that's nice though is even if they are a little weird and maybe they're a little low, our entire center mast here can get very low on those guys. So even with those step-through bikes and those women bikes and those kid bikes, even though they might have a little bit of a weird kind of hook element for that middle mount to start working, we can go ahead and get this adjusted to that necessary height, which is one thing I really like about this system. Of course too, you can transpose these guys if you need that shorter one up front, and you can kind of put these guys however you need. That way you can go ahead and get a variety of different bikes on this carrier. Talking about the carrier itself though, you can see we do have these little hoop mounts here. These are great for, of course, putting your tires into, give them a well to sink into as well. And all we have to do to adjust it, as you guys can see, is simply loosen that knob and then retighten it to keep it in position. That gives you a little bit more versatility as well for your bikes. That way, you can shift them around. If your gear housing is getting into trouble with the other one, you can go ahead and shift it, kind of get that bike shifted out of the way. And that way, they can start sitting pretty on here and interacting well with each other. Well, it's not going to take us any time to get this bike off. To do so, I'm just going to come right up to the center arm here. Now, since that's our only actual contact, make sure we are holding onto our bike. We don't want that tilting causing it or falling into our vehicle. And talking about this though, of how it's actually sitting, guys, before we get too carried away and take it off, I would like to point out how close we are here right on the end. So you guys can already see we're almost having just a little bit of contact there with our rubber. So I could see us having a little bit of damage in the future if our handlebars are rocking back and forth, especially, as we get going, we might see that bike starting to move a little bit more. So personally, I might be looking for a carrier that's a little bit further away from my view, just because if you do have long handlebars like us, you might have a problem. But speaking of that too, if you have handlebars that aren't quite as long, don't think we're going to have any issue sitting in between here. So just kind of keep it in mind. That's just something to look out for. Of course, you could always put like just a little bit of a towel or something there to really prevent any kind of damage, but it's just something that you're going to have to look out for and kind of one more headache to have to deal with. But let's go ahead and get this bike off. To do so, I just simply come right to my ratcheting arm, press it on that lever. That's going to go ahead and allow me to take my entire arm off, and then I'm going to simply grab my bike and walk it over and off, and I'm already ready to ride. So very easy system to use in that regard. I really do like how the XC2 works and how easy it is just to walk right up. Now, of course, we can go ahead and quickly put our arms back in place. Now, one little thing with the XC2 as well, guys, as you guys can see, we actually have a way of dropping this center mast here. To do that, we just simply pull on that pin. It allows that arm to get out of the way. Now, this can be really good if you do have a hatchback, maybe in the family as well. We're not limited to just throwing this here on our view. We can go ahead and put it on a host of different vehicles in the family. And one more thing with that too, we do have a natural 1.25" shank. That's going to go ahead and allow us to utilize our 1.25", but we do have a 2-sleeve adapter allowing us to go ahead and get that 2-inch hitch. So this isn't limited just to your view. You can use it on a lot of different vehicles in the family. It becomes very easy to do so. Now, one little thing with it too, guys, let's go ahead and see exactly how condensed we can get this. Now, this is another big little advantage of these guys. So if you find yourself with not a lot of room to actually start holding your carrier, you can see how much this actually can get shaved down. So it's going to help you when you are getting this guy parked, and we don't have to worry about it adding too much kind of length or width to our vehicle. But this can also be great. Go ahead and take it out. I can see us storing this inside our view as well. That way we can really be sure that our carriers can be staying with us when we leave it unattended. Or secondly, just when we're at home, this becomes very easy to take down and store somewhere. It doesn't take up a lot of room, which is one thing I really like about it. Well, let's go ahead and put these guys back down just to give us an idea of what it would look like and break down some more dimensions when it is in its folded up or full out position here, guys. Now, again, a lot of those features you guys saw can be great on a vehicle, but just keep that in mind. So as you can see here, let's go ahead and grab our clearance really quick, just from the bottom of the ground to the very end of our carrier, so we don't want to have any issues there. And right to the end of that knob is going to be putting us right at 24.5 inches there, guys. So actually pretty good clearance there. We're getting a nice little rise in that shank, especially being on a motorhome. You always want to be conscious of how much length you're extending from that rear axle. And I don't think we're being too bad of a shape here. Let's just be careful as those front wheels go up. The back will go down. So will our hitch mounted accessories. So let's just be conscious of it as we are doing our driving. Well, let's go ahead and see exactly how much length we're actually adding from the rear of our motorhome here. So from the rear of our bumper to the very end, or our furthest point of our bumper to the very end here, is going to be putting us right under 20 inches there. Looks like our arms are going to be our furthest point as well, guys. So with our arms, is going to be putting us right at 21.5 inches there from the rear of our vehicle. Now keep in mind too, if you have very long handlebars, they might just add a few more inches right to the very back, but hopefully that gives you guys a pretty good idea of what we're working with our dimensions. We'll look on the inside here. You can see too, we do have that 1.25 shank. We also do have our 2-inch sleeve adapter on there today, allowing us to utilize our 2-inch hitch. On the inside of that as well, you are seeing a threaded anti-rattle hitch bolt. Now those guys are very standard across the industry, but you love to see them. As you guys can see, as I give this guy a shake, it's shaking the entirety of the view. That means we're bringing this online to one system, taking a lot of that play out. That way we're not going to be feeling it. Our bike rack isn't going to be feeling it, and especially our bikes are going to have a nicer, smoother ride for themselves. Now, one thing with that too, you're only seeing a simple little clip in there. If you guys are looking for a little bit of security protection, Swagman does offer a cable lock and hitch lock combo available here at etrailer.com. And that way you can go ahead and be secure in the knowledge that our bikes are going to be staying with our carrier at all times. And again, our carrier is going to be staying with our vehicle when we leave it unattended. Well, guys, that pretty much does it for the Swagman. I think it's a great little pickup for yourself. If you don't want something that's going to break the bank, but you just want to get to your destination when we already have our nice view, that way we can go ahead and bring our bikes along without having to break the bank. I definitely think this can be a great option. The one thing I look for, though, we are sitting a little close here. So if you do have longer handlebars like we do, I might look at a carrier that just sits out a few more inches. So I highly suggest take a couple looks here at etrailer.com if that's something that interests you. Well, guys, I think that about does it for our look at the Swagman XC2 Bike Platform Rack here on our 2020 Winnebago View. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.
This is our test course. Let's start with the slalom. This shows side-to-side action, such as turning corners or evasive maneuvering. Then, onto our alternating speed bumps. This shows twisting action, such as hitting curbs, potholes, road debris, or even uneven pavement. Last of all, the solid speed bumps. This shows up and down action, such as driving through a parking lot or parking garage, or driving in and out of a driveway.